for the Constitution, that is politics. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua also takes a temporary leave as the court adjourns the graft case against him. Can we foresee the ending? And that generally forms the basis of our discussion tonight. And joining me is Victor Miso, is a political analyst. Thank you so much, Victor, for dedicating your time for this discussion.
It's always my pleasure to be here.
All right, let's get the ball rolling. Today we have seen what's happened. The nominees for the various dockets in the cabinet today faced the committee, the parliamentary committee on appointment. And of course, we've seen the people who are vetted today, taking examples of Musalia Mudavadi, Aden Duale, the IG to come, that is Justin Muturi, and of course others who are on the hot seat today. So what do you make of, rather, just assessing from how the vetting process went, how smooth probably it was, and the kind of questions they were being asked? General, what do you make of this whole process?
When I take from the words of senior counsel Cherargei, they just said the process it's just a process. The nomination is done and dusted. I saw it in his Twitter handle. And truth be told,
yes,
no one will be turned down. We can see every legal loophole that will undermine the vetting processes. President Ruto, as wise as he is, he has already tackled it. He foresees some of the events, and he did things that overtook events. For instance, we can see graft cases against some of the CS nominees, Aisha Juma cases being dropped. So far, nothing can hinder the process. As Kenya, let's just give them time. It's their government. This is how they see fit. Let's give them time.
All right, and of course, talking about probably one or two being dropped in this vetting process, we saw the kind of questions that are being asked, which cut across, of course, all the nominees today, was the question of net worth. And we have seen, of course, most of these nominees were allied to the Kenya Kwanza camp. So, and the Kenya Kwanza camp during the campaign, the narrative that they were selling is the hustler narrative, until when they got to Alfred Mutua, Junet Mohammed was asking that you're telling us that your net worth is 420 million and you own a luxurious hotel which probably would amount to such a net worth. So do you really think that these nominees are being truthful with some of the responses, and mostly let us measure this on their net worth?
The way I see it is these CSs are assumed to adhere by the Chapter 6 of the Constitution. We assume that these leaders have integrity to tell us the truth, of which in most of the cases is not what we think it's right. Because if you give someone a chance to declare their wealth or their net worth, it's only proper if a proper audit that is done either by an independent contracted agency or the government itself for us to actually ascertain, now you're coming into office, you're worth this amount. After 5 years of you serving, we come again, we do another forensic audit into your wealth and property and determine. So you are you're 218 million, and by the time 5 years end, you are 6 billion. You need to explain to us what miracle did you use. And so I've seen some Kenyans on Twitter and other social media platforms trolling Justin Muturi.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because sometimes back, Justin Muturi was saying that his net worth was, that is in 2021, that his net worth was 300 million. And of course, before the panel today, he was saying that his net worth is 700 million.
Exactly.
So that raises this question.
And this shows that the matter of audit, the matter of the wealth declaration is not given the seriousness it deserves. You see, because it's the AG nominee that is, they have signed a pre-coalition agreement, we will let it pass. But does it really tell the kind of leaders we have? Does Muturi today, how can Muturi come out and declare, this is how I got the 400 million over 4 years, with the inflation and the a crazy economy. Mutiro must be a very good business person.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, really interesting time that we are living in. And now another thing that really has really raised a lot of questions is the position that was being created, the position that was created actually by the executive order of the president, the position of the prime cabinet secretary that was given to the ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi. The leaders allied to the Azimio said that this position is unconstitutional. This position has no provisions in the constitution. But now we have seen today, of course, the vetting process went on smoothly for Musalia Mudavadi, and of course we expect that when this whole process is done, he'll be assuming the office of the prime cabinet secretary. What do you make of this, of course, question that will be raised by the leaders allied to the Azimio camp?
To be honest, the leaders of the Azimio camp might, I'm not saying will, are certainly, but might have a point. But I question their motive. What do they really want? Because if we go by their words, if you really think something is unconstitutional, the right channel to do is you go to court.
Yes.
No one has gone to court, which means they're just doing it for, to be seen as if they're doing the. I'm urging them to get down and do the real work instead of, coming up with claims that they can't substantiate, and the noise just, ends at the premises of the building of parliament. For instance, why am I saying this? We both know there was an executive order that President Ruto gave a while back, and how he's intending to restructure its government. And by the constitution, he has that power. And one thing that the Azimio people cannot tell you is that the position of Prime Cabinet Secretary is actually, Musalia Mudavadi is no or less than a CS, because the Constitution says that we can have a maximum of 22 cabinet secretaries, and in all the cabinet nominees that were elected, including Musalia Mudavadi, who is a CS, but his role as a CS has been, stipulated and given by the standing, by the order that the president gave. So there is nothing new. What my honest analysis, I think that there is no illegality in the matter, because Musalia Mudavadi is a CS going through vetting. It's not like we are going to change the constitution. No, he's being vetted as a CS. But the difference is his role as a CS is way different from the other roles of CS. His role is maybe coordination and, parliament liaison. So there's nothing illegal or new about it. So if the Azimio people are saying that they feel that there's some illegality, the right place to do is to go get us court order and stop the voting process.
And of course, it's interesting that you've mentioned that we have not seen them following the right procedure, that is going to court, because that is what the Constitution provides. And of course now, still maybe leaning on that, the questions of course that are being raised by the Azimio camp. Do they have the numbers in the first place? Because we saw the majority leader, in as much as earlier on they were claiming that they had the majority in the August House. We saw the majority leader, the position of the majority whip and the majority leader going to the Kenya Kwanza camp. And of course, we've also seen this in the Senate. So in as much as yes, Azimio might be grappling, raising questions in the houses, do they really stand a chance of standing against the wills and the desires of the government of the day if they don't have these numbers in parliament?
When you read one of the Greek mythologies, when they talk about war, they say that you don't have to have a huge army for you to win a war. You need to be organized. You need to be structured in a way that it's understandable. But what we're seeing right now, the Azimio people have no numbers. They're disorganized. They're in fights between themselves. People are saying other people are given more position. There's a claim that one person was given four committees to rule with other people, even one they're not given. So they're in fights. They're disorganized. So they cannot even mount any formidable opposition to check the government. So what they need to do first is they go back, sit, chart their way forward, have an agreement how they're going to counter, because there are so many central position of that there are so many positions that different Azimio leaders are coming with, which are contradicting and which makes them look weak and disorganized. So the first thing they need to do is to organize themselves and then try to lobby and get numbers. But currently, as it stands, Azimio people have no numbers. What they're just doing is trying to be relevant. I'm sorry to be harsh today for that, but I'm just saying the truth.
Yeah, interesting. Now, of course, today we also saw what happened. There's the DPP, the office of the DPP was granted 3 weeks to review the evidence on the graft case against the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, which is mounting to 7.4 billion shillings, and of course, together with his 9 allies. Now, this is taking us back to what we saw happening in this office of the Director of Public Prosecution, which is headed by Nordin Haji. Among a number of nominees to the cabinet, we saw rather the cases that were the graft cases that were against them being dropped one by one, and of course normally when a lot of questions were raised on the move by Nordin Haji, he made a U-turn in one of the cases. Now we are here with the case against the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Now this saying that they requested for more time, of course, from the prosecutor, that they given time to review the evidence. So can we rather try to foresee where is this case headed? This is a case against the person who is the second in command in this country. Where do you foresee this case being headed?
Today I'm in a mood of being honest, and I'm going to be honest.
Right.
So I'll take you back before election, when it was the campaign period. And one of the platforms that the Kenya Kwanza government that played on was on the promise of to liberate the Kenyans from state capture, to stop extrajudicial killings, and to revive the economy.
Right.
So around 30 days after the general election, we see the Kenya Kwanza government trying to fulfill some of the promises. They're trying to fix the economy, but there are things that you don't need you don't need money to fix. Such things that they say, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has times without number say that he was being tormented, he was being intimidated, cases were being brought upon him. Now he's second in command. What do you expect? So if that was the platform that they used and the people elected them, knowing that that was part of the manifesto, we Kenyans shouldn't complain, because when they told us that's what they're going to do, we voted for them. This is what they said. This is what they call freedom.
Right.
So we see people complaining that why are other cases being dropped, while other cases like Waluke's case is still there. So, but if we go back to what they promised, this is what they promised, and this is basically what they are trying to fulfill. We see the disbandment of the elite squad from the DCI. So this is a government trying to fulfill its promises. So I see all cases that Dr. Hadi as being excited to drop, they'll definitely disappear. And I don't expect differently from Rigathi's case.
All right, and of course, now that you brought up the issue of Sirisia MP Waluke, now, it is a case that the graft charges that were on him were about 700 million Kenyan shillings. And now this one, we are having it, a case that is 10 times that of Sirisia MP Waluke. And we saw how tough the government and the court was on Waluke, saying that, he was supposed to pay a fine of 1 billion Kenyan shillings or serve those number of years in the jail court. So, talking about this, and of course we saw the cases that were being dropped by the DPP were cases against people who are allied to the Kenya Kwanza camp, which is headed by the president of the country, that is Dr. William Ruto. Now, when it is not favoring the side that is on the government, you see how tough the state. Now the state is on rather this side. So do we see really that maybe in conclusion, what can we say? Is it that the state capture is now shifting? Rather the state capture naturally shifts to the position where for people who are not in government?
And that's a valid point. And if we look it from that angle, critics will say, why is it that if indeed Nurdin Haji doesn't have evidence against some cases, why is it that these cases are only allies of the President Ruto? Why is it that no other cases that are being withdrawn? So the suspicion is, why is it a certain caliber of people being forward over other people? And I think for good democracy and good manners, it's the DPP should come out, give out a satisfactory statement to the public. It's not because we support the government, but we need explanation. We can't just wake up and tell us that the person that was killed in Kilifi County, when there was a by-election, when there was chaos that allegedly Aisha Juma was being charged, that the person died, but the person who killed him is nowhere to be found. The person died and was shot, so someone shot the person. Who is that person if it's not Aisha Juma? So don't just drop cases, give us satisfactory answers. So a fair question is Aisha Juma is pleaded not guilty. Fair. Who killed the young boy? Where did the bullet come from, heaven or somewhere? So the DPP needs to come out and clarify some of the issues. It's not a matter of which side you're on. It's a matter of perception. If we perceive that the DPP has been captured by the state before even the State Capture Commission has been established, then there's a big problem. So the DPP needs to come out and give explanation. I know the Constitution gives you the power to withdraw after the court has given you a leave. But for good democracy, come out and give us the statement.
All right. And now, of course, maybe probably as we wind up this, in the face of winding up the discussion, there is the question of delivering to the mandate that the government of the day made to the electorates. We have seen something that has really sparked discussions that, of course, engaging Kenyans online, saying when the president himself saying that our competitors are coming with this plan, and this is our plans. It raises a lot of questions now. When you are in government, who are people you are competing with? And of course, in line with that, there was an issue of the president saying that the Hustler Fund, which shall be rolled out in December, will not be free money. And this is it's about there's a disparity between what he said and what he was saying during the campaign period, that 50 billion shillings shall be set aside by the government, and it should be supporting hustlers in one way or the other. So what do you make of the whole this? Is it a question of is it a question of now politics coming into play, where leaders are speaking from both sides of the mouth?
I can say it's a very perfect skill that politicians have mastered, because in campaigning there's what we call messaging. They intended to give the 50 billion, but they needed to give it in a certain way that people would be appealed. So it's a matter of they were trying to market, but coming to the realities of the day, now it conforms. They say that the Hustler Fund, the loans will have an interest of not less than 1 digit, not more than 1 digit. And during the campaign, they said that there will be no interest.
There will no interest.
So this is a government that has come and found itself to the reality of the day. And another point we see, the Hustler Fund that was supposed to be established, now it's given to SACCOs. So what do you see the government is trying to involve young people to start saving with SACCOs? So it's a clever trick. But if the government fulfills at least half of what they promised, then President Ruto is going to be re-elected. And you see, the former Prime Minister is now in the streets. I think he has adopted the Ruto campaign. Ameanza campaign miaka 3. Amesema kuna another bullet ilikuwa imeanguka. So the pressure that is being mounted of the government is necessary. And we need to see people keeping them in check. If they say one thing during the campaign and they're doing another thing, we need to give them a spot check. So it's a good thing, but let's give them time. Let's see how things will unfold. You know, we cannot speak in anticipation, because we can anticipate that there will be interest. Maybe even there will be a bigger scandal than they had. So let's just wait and hope for the best as a country.
All right, and I don't know, with that, that's really interesting, because you should take that probably as the parting shot, because we also need to give the government time to deliver on some of its mandates. So let us work with the government. The government, as our analyst has said, that it is an art of politics that has been mastered, that during the campaigns there is a message you send, and once you get into office, you tilt the message so that the reality really can sink. Thank you so much, Mr. Analyst, Mr. Victor, for your insights on this thing.